everybody, I'm your host Ellen, and welcome to The Perfect Daughter. Today we have a Minisode, so I'm going to keep this intro short. We have 3 guests today. We have Grace, we have Zoey, and we have Asia. And we are talking about cultural heritage and passing it on to the next generation. So they chose this topic, and then they wrote questions that they wanted me to ask them. And even reading the questions before the interview, I was like, these questions are so good. These answers are going to be phenomenal. And they are. They were actually so professional. They wrote out their responses that they had to the questions that they gave me. So today it's going to be more of like a ask questions and then like a read response kind of format than the usual conversational format that we have. But hey, we're switching it up a little. Anyway, let's get right to it because it is so good, and I hope you enjoy this minisode of The Perfect Daughter. How does cultural background affect behavior in children? Here's Grace.
Knowing about cultural background can affect an individual's beliefs and values and even daily interactions. A child's cultural background may teach one which behaviors are encouraged and discouraged through generational teachings from parents or grandparents. Cultural identity shapes what we see as norms through expression.
And why is it important for this generation to learn about their cultural heritage?
Cultural awareness in children can play a part of role developing a positive self-esteem about their identity and foster a sense of belonging in a community. Being able to connect with someone from your own culture represents familiarity, community, and confidence.
All right, cool. Thanks, Grace. So up next, Zoey, cultural appreciation versus cultural appropriation.
Box braids have been seen popularly on African American hair as a way to protect their curls. Protective hairstyles are a big part of culture as it defends against different environments. Many other people can find these hairstyles beautiful and reasonably want to try out the hairstyles for themselves. It's important to remember that braids are not owned by one group of people and are 100% okay to share with others. Just as any other cultural custom, not only one group of people are just allowed to participate, just as long as we are remaining respectful to others' beliefs and lifestyles. To me, appreciating the beauty of box braids is a wonderful way to share culture. An example of cultural appropriation would be calling Native Americans Indians. This is falsely labeling a group of people, which is disregarding their respective name, which is very offensive. Appreciating a culture or just a person in general starts with respect.
What effect does sharing culture have on a community?
Sharing culture creates connections and builds an inclusive environment for everyone. This is so important because of the distance and discrimination people face from being themselves these days. Inclusivity is something to strive for when building a connected community.
That's great. Thanks, Zoey. And Asia, how can knowledge of your culture affect familial relationships?
It can indefinitely create a gap that's difficult to bridge, especially with those older than you. I've been lucky enough to have aunties who are willing to share how to make family recipes and how to properly do cultural dances. But I know of many families, it's hard to connect with those who are different from the knowledge of where their roots come from.
And then how has our knowledge of culture evolved over time?
Over time, I feel our knowledge of culture has been watered down because America is considered a mixing pot of cultures, causing so much of our cultural knowledge that has gone down the drain from generation to generation, to the point that most people don't even celebrate their culture. Especially for people who are mixed, like me. We struggle finding out who we are more often than not with culture because those around us already have such little knowledge.
Those were all such great answers, and we have some time left, so I'm just gonna make up some of my own questions. Let's see. So how does your cultural heritage or your knowledge of your cultural heritage impact you?
I think for me, it definitely creates it makes me feel like I'm a part of something, right? And it really helps figure out who I am, and it gives me a sense of connection with other people too. I can relate to this person in this way, and it just helps me along those lines.
Cool. So this next question, this is probably way far in the future. But if you guys were to have children, what would be your way of teaching them about your culture, and what would be your way of passing your culture on to them?
Personally, I didn't grow up really getting to learn my own language, especially since it was harder to see my grandparents very often, and with going to school in America with multiple English speakers. So if I were to have children in the future, I would want to teach them their language and let them be aware of cultural experiences that my family has gone through.
And then, Asia, you were saying about how, like, America has sort of become, like, a mix of cultures. How do you think that impacts people who live in the U.S. who think that, like, oh, there's just a lot of cultures? How do you think that impacts their perspective and knowledge about different cultures?
I think that can definitely cause a more closed mindset, going back from our glorious IB roots. It's really hard to keep an open mind when you're like, oh, there's just a lot of cultures and they're around, you know, I don't have to know about them. I just know that they exist. I'm not saying that every person has to every day be like, hey, where are you from? What is your family like? But it's definitely good to put in the effort to try to find out where someone came from.
Wasn't that just so good? I mean, all of their answers were so precise and cohesive and well put together. I mean, amazing. And reminding us that everybody has cultural heritage, and it's important to be respectful of it, but also, like Zoe mentioned, it's important to make sure that we're not appropriating anyone's culture, which I think is really important. I hope you enjoyed listening to this minisode. I hope that you learned some stuff. I hope that it made you feel more confident about your culture. And remembering that you're unique, you're not defined by your culture, but I hope that you're proud of your culture and where you come from, wherever that may be. Okay, I'll see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed this minisode of The Perfect Daughter. The Perfect Daughter is a Rizzle Dizzle Entertainment original. I'm your host, Ellen. The Perfect Daughter is produced, mixed, made, and edited by me. Special thanks to my mom, Virginia Patterson, for help with the website, which you can go check out for more information about The Perfect Daughter. The theme music was written, produced, mixed, and made by me. And you can find more episodes and minisodes of The Perfect Daughter on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Remember, no one is perfect. Bye!